Hello, I'm Bailey Leasure, and this is the Leasure Sports Podcast. Hope everybody's having a great summer, and I'm going to kick it off with some news. Uh, Wearing the ASU Sun Devil shirt today as I go to ASU, and a little bit of a tribute to Frank Kush, who unfortunately passed away today at the age of 88. He was the coach, the ASU coach, football coach from 1955 to 1979. Long, 25 years of a coach. So rest in peace, Frank Kush. I'm going to kick it off with the Arizona Coyotes news. A lot of news has happened in the last week or so. From a direction standpoint, the Coyotes have been in a youth direction, and they were made some big trades. Mike Smith was traded to the Calgary Flames. Coyotes got Chad Johnson and I believe a couple draft picks. Mike Smith, very gonna miss him. He had a great season last year, represented the Coyotes in the All Star game, and gonna really as a Coyote, guy who spectated from the or watched the Coyotes. He was a great goaltender for this year, past couple years. Um, he's had some injuries, but had a really great year this year. And unfortunately, just it's business and overall probably a good direction going. But then the Coyotes made I guess you can say, controversial move when Shane Doan and the Arizona Coyotes agreed to part ways. And from the sound of it wasn't on good terms. I think Doan he did an interview and said, I met with the general manager John Chakra, or I believe that's his name. Not pronouncing it right, his last name, but basically saying, we're letting you go because it's the direction we're going with this team is not, I guess Doan said in that interview that he did with on I think believe Arizona Sports Radio that they felt, and the new owner Anthony Barway, he said that we feel like we're going in a young direction, and felt like Dome was going to interrupt that. So it's unfortunate. Shane Doan's been synonymous with hockey in the desert, and he's been synonymous or just associated with Arizona sports. I mean, he's probably the second most right now in the valley of the desert. He's the second most recognizable athlete, only behind Larry Fitzgerald. So it's really unfortunate. And as you know what, I get the move because of the youth direction, because of the young direction. They're going with a lot of their players with Max Domi, Anthony Duclair, Christian Dvorak, Clayton Keller, Dylan Strome, all those players. Albrecht and Larson is going to be a great captain, but it's just I feel like the Coyotes kind of did wrong with Doan. I feel like he's been with them since they've been in the desert. If he wants to play one more year, there were reports before Monday this news came out that Doan was leaning towards coming back, and I feel like the Coyotes did not give him. He could have announced this is my last year, and the Coyotes could have potentially banked on this as a farewell season, but that was not the case. Um, I feel like Doan playing with them 21 years, and even in the direction they're going, it wouldn't have hurt. I mean, Doan didn't have a great year last year, but I feel like if he wants to play another season, he's a great guy to have around that team. Um, he's probably the most first name you think of about with the Coyotes. Um, and he's great, brings great leadership to the team, and it's something that will definitely be missed. But I feel like he could have, like Larry Fitzgerald, if he wanted to come back here. I feel like he's in a position now with being with the team for so long that if he wanted to come back for another year, they could have granted him. They could have gave him a 1 year contract. But I guess that's just not the case. So Doan said he still plans to play another season. It's just like his Arizona Coyotes. His it's just not going to be with the Coyotes, unfortunately, which is just it's going to be weird if he plays for another team. Could retire, could take a front office role. You never know, but just not a great feeling in the taste the taste of Coyotes fans. But I'll say this: I salute you, Shane Doan, for the 21 years you've been with the team through the ups and downs. If you do go play next year, hopefully you play for a contender and go win the Stanley Cup. Rooting for you. Moving on from Coyotes, still going to stick with the NHL. Yesterday was during the NHL awards. It was the expansion draft as a new expansion team, the Vegas Golden Knights, the new NHL team, is going to will debut next season. And in the wake of that, they need an expansion draft to put some players on that team. And the Golden Knights got a couple good ones. Since every team has at least a few players eligible for the expansion draft. They got some good players overall. I got Cody Eakin from the Dallas Stars, Stanley Cup champion Marc-Andre Fleury from the Pittsburgh Penguins, James Neal from the Nashville Predators, Jonathan Marchessault from the Florida Panthers. They've made some moves. They got during that expansion draft, they got Calvin Pickard from the Colorado Avalanche. So they're going to have a really good two-goal. Going to have really two good goalies, in my opinion, for that debut season. I believe their home opener will be against the Arizona Coyotes. If that's correct, but they made some moves today. They traded defenseman David Schlemko to the Canadiens for a 2019 fifth-round pick. They also they got Trevor Van Riemsdyk, I believe from Chicago. They traded him to the Hurricanes. Some other moves have happened. Jordan Eberle from the Edmonton Oilers. He was just traded to the New York Islanders. So that was some other moves, and very interesting. It was also, like I said before, it was the NHL awards last night as well. Connor McDavid took the Hart Trophy, which is the MVP equivalent to the NHL. The Sharks acquired, Brett Burns from the San Jose Sharks got his first Norris Trophy. Austin Matthews, the Arizona native, won the Calder Trophy. John Tortorella won the Jack Adams Award. Sergei Bobrovsky won the Vezina Trophy. So a lot of big awards were handed out in the NHL along with the expansion draft. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And that's pretty much it for NHL news. I'm moving on to Major League Baseball news. Arizona Diamondbacks, since my last podcast, been on the road. Took the first two games against Detroit. Swept the Philadelphia Phillies like expected. Had some good games. Couple come from behind victories in that. And then as I'm recording this, they just won 10-3 against the Colorado Rockies. So 2 of 3 as of right now. They're a game back of the LA Dodgers. They're tied with the Rockies for second place. So it's going to be interesting. Right now, other than this series, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies have been playing weak teams. Dodgers playing a very disappointing Mets team right now. So we'll see what happens there tonight. But if the Dodgers win, it'll be a game and a half up in the division. They're being led by Cody Bellinger, who's at like over 20 home runs in the month, since they brought him up. So it's been pretty interesting. So it's been, there's been other big news going on other than the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks great road trip after I think they went into this road trip 4 games back behind 500 for their road record, and as they go home to play the Phillies. They're 20 and 18 on the road. I believe they're 19 games over 500. So Diamondbacks just been playing really well. Paul Goldschmidt and Jake Lamb. Paul Goldschmidt, I think, is leading the league in RBI leaders, and he is 3rd in the All-Star voting right now, behind both Ryan Zimmerman and Anthony Rizzo, which I think is a bunch of crap because this is exactly, not only that, Lamb's in 5th. In third base, this is exactly, in my opinion, why fan voting needs to be do away with, and I think for the most part, baseball writers should be voting for this, which is just not the case, but it is what it is. Hopefully the voting increases a little bit, so we'll see what happens there. Kyle Schwarber today was demoted. He's been had a very disappointing season along with the rest of the Cubs. He was demoted to AAA. He's winning. He will be sent to AAA. We're going to review the standings right now. Right as of right now in Major League Baseball. Just got to pull them up right now. Excuse me. So the Yankees, were losing a lot of. I think they lost like 6 in a row, and but fortunately they were snapped that losing streak and they're a half game up over the Red Sox for first place. Cleveland has taken a grip in the American League Central as expected. They're a game and a half over the Minnesota Twins. Even the Kansas City Royals, a team that's been kind of disappointing, they're a game behind 500, and they're 3.5 games back. See, a lot of these divisions in baseball have not, other than the American League East and the National League West, a lot of weak divisions in this. Houston just running away, the best team in baseball. Washington Nationals got a 9.5 game lead over the Braves. Brewers still have a 2 game lead over the Cubs. Like I've said before, very disappointing. The Cubs have been. Brewers one of the surprise teams this year. Actually, a lot of surprise teams. And then, as I said before, Dodgers are in first, Diamondbacks and the Rockies are tied for second, San Diego fourth, and then San Francisco, who's just been terrible this year, uh, is 20 games behind 500. No, I don't think anybody expected that. But with a bad bullpen, a lot of injuries going on, San Francisco, they might sell. And Johnny Cueto is one of their big pitchers. I believe I've seen reports saying he's going to opt out. But we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the NFL news, Eric Decker agreed to a 1-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. Good signing for the Titans. Today, it had been rumored for the last day or so, but Derek Carr today agreed to a 5-year, $125 million extension with the Oakland Raiders. That I believe he's got the biggest, is going to be the most high-paid player ever in that span. Andy Reid and the Chiefs agreed on a contract extension, and while that happened today, Kansas City also, they parted ways with their general manager, parted ways with GM John Dorsey after 4 seasons. So they extended their coach, but they let go of their general manager. It was pretty weird, unexpected. Moving on to NBA news, a lot of news there. There's been a lot of trade rumors going on. 76ers acquired Boston's #1 pick. Cavs were talking with the Indiana Pacers about Paul George. Paul George, big news coming out there. He said after the 2018 season, he will become a free agent and he prefers to sign with the Lakers. A lot of teams looking at him for scenarios. Cavs were looking at scenarios to get Paul George and Jimmy Butler, but it was reported today that they abandoned that because they couldn't really get any interest for Kevin Love. And during that same, Cavs have a lot have been busy. They parted ways with GM David Griffin and Chancey Billups. He's looking as a top candidate for the general manager position. Like I said before, Lakers potentially looking at Paul George, especially if Paul George wants to go to LA. So we'll see what happens there. Lakers were pretty busy this week as they traded D'Angelo Russell and Timothy Mozgov to the Nets for Brook Lopez. Suns, there's been several players they've looked at. I've heard a little bit of Kevin Love, but not much. DeAndre Jordan, I've heard a little bit about. There was a deal that the Suns were potentially looking at with Eric Bledsoe. So we'll see what happens there. I hope the Suns, with Devin Booker, I think this is going to be the hard thing if they go for trades, is that many teams are going to ask about Booker, and in my opinion, you do not get rid of that kid. He's possibly going to be the next big NBA star, and he's only 20 years old. So if I'm the Suns, I'd keep him. Hopefully, the Suns, listen, if they got some I feel like they have some pieces to be good in the next year or two. Just need a big name player, hopefully. They're kind of in the position they were with Goran Dragic, but the front office and Dragic had an ugly split up, and set the Suns back, but we'll see what happens there. That's pretty much it for the news this week. Thanks everybody for watching. Follow me on Twitter at BaileyLeasure96. I just did my new video blog series. I'll have another episode probably next week. I'm probably gonna have 2 videos a week, including the podcast. So I just did a podcast or discussing Kevin Durant's championship win and if it's if it's tainted, if it was unexpected, if it was boring. I talked a little bit about that during that blog, so you guys can check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Click like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content on my channel, and comment if you agree or disagree with my views. What do you think the Cavs should do? What players should the Suns go after? What do you think about Mike Smith and Shane Doan being let go and traded? What do you think? How the Diamondbacks? What are the moves they need to make to keep it going? The Diamondbacks have been one of the biggest surprise stories in baseball. The NL West, how competitive it's been, has been very surprising. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all later.